Hello, good evening everyone. Are we all well and ready to start our live session number 5? I'm sure you guys are all very well and I'm sure you really can't wait for some more wonderful F4 knowledge. So I'm not going to keep you waiting, just as usual. We are going to get started. What are we going to discuss tonight? You've seen our wonderful mentor has already informed you about the things we are going to discuss, and we are going to get started by talking about the law of agency. So if we turn to the study notes, page 86, the one I've got on the screen for you, we will notice that this topic on its own has never ever been examined. If you just look at the first grid, I'm sure this will strike you, yes? So no sitting in the past has had a whole question on agency. Why is that? Because if you look at the second grid, you will notice that, well, okay, it does get examined. Certainly not every sitting, but the pattern is quite infrequent, and every time it has been examined just as a part question. And that means that normally it has been added onto another question, and usually the topics to which it links very nicely are either partnership law, the one we are going to learn all about tonight, and company law, the one we are also going to get started on. So what we are going to do is I'm going to explain you the concept of agency law, how it works, the main idea, the main principle, and you will read the rest as self-study, just a little bit of theory, tiny, sweet and short chapter. Then we are going to learn everything about partnership, and we will start working on the application of agency within partnership law. Later on we'll do the same with company, just to make it practical, just to make it exam focused. Okay, so if you're ready, I would ask you to look at that wonderful diagram which is in the study notes on that same page where we had the two grids. Here we are going to illustrate the concept of the agency by looking at the few bits and pieces. Now the whole thing starts with somebody that we tend to call the principal. I'm going to call him P for short. That principal is a person, and by person I hope you remember we mean humans just like you and me, or we might mean artificial people such as the companies, for example, yes? So the principal is some person, somebody who is probably too busy, okay? Too busy maybe? Or maybe incapable to do something physically himself. That's the principle in our agency theory, okay? That person who is too busy will need something to be done on his behalf, and because he is too busy or incapable, he will actually appoint an agent to do this for him. Here we go, our agent. I'm going to call the agent A for short, okay? If you're thinking about examples, when we are talking about the principle, I will ask you to imagine a company, that artificial person. Well, the company may be a person, but since it's not a real one, it can't do anything on its own, can it? So it is going to need some agents to do the work. So for example, if we're looking at the company being the principal, the agent could be the directors of the company. Okay? It's just a good example. I'm not saying it must be them only, but just to get you the idea, okay? Another example for a principal, it could be what we call a firm. And the firm, you will find out later, is just a normal partnership. Okay, well, the firm doesn't really exist as a separate person, so the firm will need agents to do things on its behalf. So if we're looking at the firm, the agents would be the partners in the partnership. Okay, or if you want to imagine it in even simpler terms, You don't have to write this down because for our exam purposes it will be either a company or a partnership, and then we'll have those people being agents. But in simplest terms, imagine I want to sell my car. I think I tried to sell it to quite a few of you, didn't I, in the last few sessions? But pretend I'm very busy to sell my car. I might decide that one of you, not sure who, probably Marina, I think she's very interested, Marina can become my agent and she can sell my car for me. She can arrange the sale. If that is the case, I would be the principal. Having asked Marina to sell my car for me, she will become the agent. Okay? So that's how the agency relationship is being formed between the principal and the agent. And what we are going to say is that that agency relationship is usually a contractual one. Between the principal and the agent. Okay, well, once the agent has been appointed, what he has to do is he has to do the work on the behalf of the principal. So he's going to go into negotiations with somebody else, somebody that we call a third party. Okay, and the agent is going to do all the hard work negotiating the possible contract with the third party. So agent does all the work. So probably our friend Marina, being appointed as my agent, she will go looking for a buyer to whom she can sell my car for me. She will negotiate the terms of the sale, the price of the car, and all other details which would be associated. That other person, that third party, I'm going to call it TP for short, okay? So once all the work is done, once all the negotiations have finished between the agent and the third party, what comes into being is another contract. Well, that contract is made by the agent, but that contract binds, guess who? Well, it binds the principal and the third party. So if Marina manages to find a buyer for my car, pretend she arranged the car to be sold to Becky. Becky, I'm sure you will agree, yes? So if we have Becky who has agreed to buy my car, even though all the work has been done by Marina, all the communication, all the negotiations have been done by her, once Becky accepts the offer to buy my car, or maybe once Becky makes me the offer and I accept, or Marina accepts on my behalf, there is that contract which is going to be existing between me, the owner of the car, and Becky, the purchaser. So if, let's say, for some reason I decide after this point not to sell my car to Becky, I'm going to be in breach, and then the third party, Becky, is going to sue me for breach of contract. She's not going to sue Marina, the agent, okay? Because if you can see on my screen, the agent has been left out of this contract, okay? And similarly, if I am to sell my car to Becky, even though Marina agreed all the details, my agent, if Becky for some reason breaches the contract, I'm going to sue Becky. I'm not going to go suing Marina, the agent, for the breach of contract. Is that okay with everyone? Is that relationship nice and clear? What do you think? I'm sure it is, but if not, you will have to ask me. So when we are talking about the agent, we have to be aware that the agent does all the work, but stays out of the privity of the contract, which means the agent doesn't sue and he doesn't get sued, okay? He stays out of the privity of the contract. Okay, well, that's all great then. Anything else you might want to know here? Well, I think that's the main thing. One more thing before I move on. When we're talking about this contract between the principal, say me, and the third party, say Becky, This contract made by the agent can be enforced only if the agent had authority. So this contract that we mentioned here is enforceable only if the agent had authority.